Welcome back to Box Office Maniacs. And now I have a new series to bring you. With The Mist ending here in 2 more episodes, they decided to bring on yet another Stephen King book called Mr. Mercedes. Unlike The Mist, I didn't read Mr. Mercedes. Oh, let me correct that. I read half of the first book. And there was nothing really wrong with the first book. I thought it was boring, and maybe it got more exciting towards the middle of the end. But for whatever reason, I never finished the first book. So I am in a unique situation here to where I am watching this new series now, and I can't really complain about how different from the book to the series it is. However, I did read enough of the book to know they've already changed some major stuff in the show. But is it for the better? Is it for the worse? Well, I'll tell you my opinion on that. So for those who don't know what Mr. Mercedes is a novel by Stephen King. He wrote 3 of them. And it starts out with this guy in a clown mask, because Stephen King has the thing for clowns, which is cool. I thought it was really cool that he put the clown mask on. And you have all these people standing out there waiting in like a job fair, like at 3 o'clock in the morning, waiting to get in this building to get a job. And you really have this interaction between these people in the beginning of the series. And, it goes on for about 5 or 10 minutes, and you get to know these characters. And actually, there's more character development in the first 10 minutes of this show, better than the 8 episodes of The Mist so far. But unfortunately, these characters are not going to be around that much longer, because the guy in the clown mask gets in this Mercedes and just plows through these people and just kills them all. Now, I got to say, too, that this is pretty much a timely topic right now, because this has happened in real life several times, obviously, and it just happened recently in the protest where the guy got in his Camaro and ran through all these protesters and actually killed one woman. So it's odd that, that this show comes on, and that's what this literally is about, is somebody who mowed down all these people, these innocent people standing in line for a job interview. And it's pretty graphic, too. They show it, and they don't really hold anything back. They run over these people, they show the guts and the blood and everything spraying up everywhere. And this is actually on a channel on DirecTV called the Audience Channel, which, truthfully, I didn't even know I had, because I heard that the show was coming on. So I checked to see if it was on DirecTV, and apparently it is. I have the Audience Channel. I have no idea what else is on this channel. I just recorded Mr. Mercedes. So yeah, if you don't think you have it, you might want to check. I don't know why I have it, but I do. I don't know if it's a short-term thing. They give it to you just to tease you to watch this show, or what. I have no idea. But for now, I have the Audience Channel. So we get into the story now, where right after this happens, you see this detective and another detective walking through all these dead bodies everywhere, and the detective realizes that this was intentional. It wasn't an accident, no car ran away from anybody, that this car literally went and plowed through all these people and did it on purpose just to murder all these people. And the detective in this show is Irish, which is kind of strange because I do not remember him being Irish in the book. He might have been, but that might have been a change, which, again, I don't think is a big deal, because it makes his character a little bit more interesting now that he's Irish and he has an accent. So right after this happens, and this person kills all these people, we get to present time, and the detective that was on this case is now retired. And he's a heavy-set guy with a big white beard, and he just sits around all day, and he just drinks beer, and he's being lazy, and it's sort of what his retirement is. And he has this buddy who's still on the police force, and he goes out once in a while to this little cafe, and he has lunch with his buddy, and he sits there and listens to his buddy talk, and his buddy's telling him all these police cases and whatnot, and he's, I guess, a little jealous, and he wants to get back on the force, but he can't because he's retired. And all these actors are good. These are really, really good, solid actors. I don't know who any of them are, but they're very good in their roles in this show. So now we switch to this young kid, and he's working at this electronics store with a real jerk boss. This boss is a total jerk. And as soon as you see this guy, you should suspect anyway that this kid is the one who ran over all these people. Even though they don't say that right away, But that's something I'm assuming that if you're watching the show, well, why else would they be showing this guy? Then he ends up going home after his shift is over, and his mom wants to start making out with him on the couch. And he's like, oh, no, I don't think so. And he goes downstairs where all these computers are, and he turns those computers on. Now, all this stuff I remember being in the book. I remember all that being in the book. Now, I read the book a long time ago. It's not like a recent thing. I was trying to remember what they changed from what I read. And as far as I can remember, the detective has this next door neighbor. And she invites him over for dinner one night. So he's sitting there eating, and she starts talking to him. She's like, hey, you want to have sex? He's like, what? What did you say? And she's like, hey, you and me, why not? Let's have some sex. And here's a naked picture of myself. And he's like, good Lord! And he gets up and he leaves. I think that would be like a response from most people, I guess. That, oh, my next door neighbor is showing me nude pictures and all of a sudden wants to have sex. Bye. And he leaves. And he gets this weird email on his old computer. And his computer's like being held together with like duct tape, so you know he's not really like computer literate, or he knows how to use a computer but not that well. And he gets this email from the killer, Mr. Mercedes is what they call him, because he ran over the whole group of people with a Mercedes. And it was something to do with teasing him about never solving the case, and you know that he's a failure and whatever because he didn't solve his case, and this is him poking fun at him now. So then later on, the detective has this kid who's mowing his grass who knows more about computers than he does. So he brings him in and sees if he can figure out, because after he had gotten that email, it just vanished from the computer. And the kid's trying to figure out how to extract the email from the computer. And again, the kid's really a good actor. The next door neighbor's a really good actor. All these people are just great actors in this show. So much better than The Mist. In the first 15, 20 minutes of the show, you already sort of care about these characters and you sort of want to be invested in the show and in the story already. And this is much stranger than me talking about The Mist, because this is an actually good show, believe it or not. However, for those who read the book, I'm not sure if you were going to enjoy it, because from what I remember when he was talking to his detective friend, he's like, well, what about the woman who owned the car? And the guy's like, well, she killed herself because she couldn't stand the guilt. Now, I remember in the book, I think that he went to her house, and there's this big whole sequence where he's talking to her, and she's talking to him and talking about the keys and how, you know, nobody stole the keys from her, and she wouldn't have allowed this to happen and all this stuff. And then she ended up killing herself after that. And then he ended up getting hired by this rich woman, and him and the rich woman were having sex. Now, this might be later on in the series. I don't know if they're going to add that, because now they added the next door neighbor, and it seems like she's taken the role of the woman that he meets, I guess, which doesn't make much sense, but, you know, we'll find out later in the series what's going on here. And again, I don't really have a problem with the changes they made here, because the story is still good, and it's still basically the same story. Unlike The Mist, where they just totally changed everything. They completely changed the concept of what the show was about. I mean, what the movie or what the book was about even. But this is on the same track. It's on the same track of hopefully being a really good Stephen King show. Now, that said, I can tell you the show is pretty graphic. It's very bloody, and there is, again, you know, talking about sex, and there is some really nasty sex scenes between the guy and his mother. So, and they're showing all this, again, on this channel, which I've never heard of, called Audience. And I'm actually glad that they're doing that, because they're not holding anything back from what I can tell in this show. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. After episode 1, I think Mr. Mercedes has a chance on becoming a really good Stephen King adaptation of his novel, even if they don't follow it. It still has the same feel as his book, I think. So we'll see what happens when episode 2 rolls around here, and hopefully it will continue being this good, and I'll be interested in seeing where these characters go. And if you've read the book, don't spoil it for anybody in the comments, because that would really suck. You know, if everybody's enjoying this and somebody throws a comment in there and spoils the whole story, please, you know, leave it to yourself just right now, if you want to comment, absolutely comment, but comment on if you like it or not, or if it's a true adaptation of the book, or if you don't like that they're getting too far away from the source material, or what. You know, I'd love to hear from you. I always love to hear from everybody. So please comment, but don't spoil anything, because this is one of the ones I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want to know what's going to happen, because I'm actually enjoying this one. And hopefully you guys are actually enjoying this review as much as you're enjoying the Myst reviews. So if you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that little bell, so when I upload a new video, you guys will be the first ones to know. It will send you a notification, say, hey, this guy uploaded a video thing, and I'll watch it whenever I'm on the toilet, or wherever you watch it. So until next time, I hope you enjoyed this review, and this is Box Office Maniacs, and I'll see you next time.